Top story this hour. Kurdish sources tell RT that Kurdish-controlled areas in northern Syria could declare a federal system later today. Hundreds of veterans who served in a Nazi SS division march in an annual parade through Latvia's capital. And Democrat Hillary Clinton gears up to battle Republican Donald Trump for the keys to the White House after both win big in the latest multi-state vote for their respective parties' nomination. It's all coming up. Live at 5 from our THQ here in Moscow. Kevin Owen with you this very good evening from me. Thanks for watching. So first then, Kurdish-controlled territories in the north of Syria, we hear, are reportedly preparing to declare a federation of northern Syria. If it happens, that federal system will represent all ethnic groups living there. Let's get a handle of it by looking on the map, see what the areas we're talking about here. The Kurds currently control territory that runs along most of the northern border with Turkey and reaches right up, in fact, to the frontier with Iraq in the east. They also hold an enclave in the northwest of Syria, too. A local journalist told us a bit more about this proposed federal system.
Now the conference just started in Remilan city. About 200 people. Now the conference just started. This conference supposed to announce a federation system as a political project for the Rojava and North Syria.
Neighbouring Turkey's already slammed the notion of any federal system for the Kurds as illegal. Ankara's concern over Kurdish militants gaining a greater foothold in northern Syria is so great, in fact, that it's previously targeted them with cross-border fire. Kurdish villages were also shelled. Several civilians were reportedly injured. Turkey claims it's got every right to conduct an operation, even if it's own Syrian territory.
When it comes to fighting threats, Turkey holds the right to conduct any operation it sees necessary in Syria or any soil that breeds terrorism. No one can restrict our right to self-defense, nor prevent us from exercising it.
The more the Turks push, yes, it will probably hinder effort by the Kurds to gain more territory and to connect those various areas they control. Turkey is really trying its best to make sure that those areas are not connected. And this is part of an effort by the Kurds to basically say, look, we are including other people, and the way we're doing it part of the federal system rather than independent, because what Turkey is worried about, that breaking away of the Kurds from northern Syria. So by doing this, they basically legitimize their claim in one way, and the other way they're saying we're going to remain part of Syria, and this is going to be a federal structure.
There's also been international condemnation of Ankara's crackdown on Kurds inside Turkey itself, and now the persecution's being extended, it seems, to foreigners it suspects of backing Kurds. The story here: a British academic was arrested Tuesday for allegedly supporting terrorism. Detained academic Chris Stevenson is a Cambridge University graduate and a professor of computer sciences. He's got 47 years professional experience behind him. He's been a lecturer, in fact, at one of Istanbul's universities for more than 16 years. We're just getting reports in, as I'm telling you about that as well, coming through, that Chris Stevenson has in fact now been released. So that's an update, very new, just coming through as we're saying it. Let's get up to speed on this. Harry Fears across it in London. Harry. So detained, released, but let's go back to the fact who's detained in the first place. Embarrassing, if nothing else. Take us through what we know so far.
Indeed, Kevin. According to Turkish news agencies, just in the last hour, Chris Stevenson was indeed released this morning, around 24 hours after his detention yesterday morning. He was attending a protest in support of detained Turkish academics outside Istanbul Police Department. So perhaps good news that he was released, or indeed not, because the same agencies are now saying that a condition of his release was that he must be deported from the Turkish Republic. Well, apparently he's already been re-detained to that end. Now, he, of course, was detained yesterday on these charges of making propaganda for terrorists for the PKK, the group that Turkey's government says was responsible for those terror blasts on Sunday that killed almost 40 people. But before Mr. Stevenson was incarcerated yesterday, he was able to, post on Twitter and Facebook his account of what happened. Watch this.
I'm being accused because I had in my bag several invitations to Kurdish New Year celebrations published by the HDP, the third largest party in the Turkish parliament.
Well, since then, RT reached out to the British Foreign Office and they clarified that they have been assisting a British national detained at the same time. So perhaps the British Foreign Office have been intervening here positively to see that Mr. Stevenson is returned to safety in some sense. Perhaps it's better to be deported than incarcerated under terror charges. And certainly this week there has been something of an escalation in respect of Turkey's security and counter-terror climate, because the President Erdogan on Monday night said that the country's laws should be updated to target those also who support terrorism intellectually. Watch this.
The fact that someone is an MP, an academic, a writer, a journalist, the director of an NGO has nothing to do with whether or not he or she is a terrorist. Just as anyone who blows up a bomb or pulls the trigger is a terrorist, so are those who help them to do that. That's why I think our criminal law needs a new definition of terrorism and terrorist.
So it seems perhaps that this British professor protesting against the detention of Turkish academics, a man, long-time vocal supporter of Kurdish rights, perhaps he is the latest, or first rather, victim of this strengthened security stance, now apparently also targeting foreigners in Turkey too. Well, if Mr. Stevenson is indeed deported, this is bad news for him and his family. He's married to a Turk who's been living in the Republic for 25 years.
Harry, thanks for the update. As I say, it's changed as we're reporting in the last hour. It's bad news for him now. It looks like at least he's probably lost his job. We'll come back as we know more. Harry Fear in London, thank you. Other academics have already paid a price for supporting Turkey's Kurdish population. In January, 12 were detained for signing a petition denouncing Ankara's military operation. 3 more were jailed just this Monday. In fact, more than 1,000 academics from 90 Turkish universities have put their signatures to that petition, as did high-profile intellectuals, among them linguist Noam Chomsky, philosopher Slavoj Žižek. We'll keep following the story.